Let's talk about identifying your PM career bottleneck. My name is Alex. I used to be a group PM at Google. Now I run the Product Career Accelerator, where we help proactive, experienced PMs just like you get to the next level of their careers. I've identified a lot of different bottlenecks that people experience as they grow their product management career. So let's find out where you may be on this list. Let's get started. First level is the PM skills. If you're just getting started, assuming that you want to build a product management career, of course, you need some foundational skills. So see where you are on this list. Software development, understanding the way software is built. Execution, just plain getting things done. User experience and product design, how are products designed visually, behaviorally, for users, of course, from a business model perspective as well. Written communication, how you communicate in presentations, docs, and emails, write-ups, and verbal communication in person, on Zoom conferences, in big events, small events, etc. Prioritization and trade-offs, making decisions, explaining those decisions, and of course, working with data analysis, experimentation, setting up experiments, understanding how to do it, and how to interpret results, driving alignment between different groups of folks. Of course, setting up roadmaps for different time durations and for different types of stakeholders, and then setting the strategy for your product, business, organization. So those are some foundational PM skills. There's a lot more, but you can kind of see where you are on this list. And if you see any of these skills are deficient, then that's something you can work on. Now, assuming you do have the skills, what next? Well, next we need to start picking up actual experience. And how do you pick up experience, and what do you need to work on? You need to start building it from scratch. You can go in a particular direction, or you can go the generalist route, which is picking up a few different areas of expertise along the way to make yourself maximally interesting to potential employers, hiring managers, recruiters, as you explore and continue to grow your product management career. So that could mean working with consumers or businesses, enterprise. It could mean lots of different industries or verticals. It means how many years of product management actual experience do you have? So as you start, you go from 0, 1, 2, 3. Scope of ownership. How big are these products, features, or entire product groups that you own? And the different type of experience of working on either 0 to 1, just building something from scratch, or 1 to 2, which might mean initial growth, adoption, traction, or working at scale. And of course, there's different levels of scale, to tens, hundreds of thousands of users, to millions and tens and hundreds of millions, and even billions. These are the different levels of experience that you can pick up. Now, if you do have the skills and you've picked up the experience and you're still stuck, then it's likely because you are missing impact, which is actually the results or the outcomes of the work that you've driven. This starts with clear metrics, actual delivered outcomes. What have you impacted? Dollars, revenue, cost, and users or user base, adoption, retention, growth of users. It could also be efficiency or changes or launches or improvements in team or processes around the company or the business or the product. Fundamentally, launches, big changes, delivered clear impact of what have you actually built. Again, to review, if you have nothing, start on skills. Once you got the skills, we leverage that to build experience and gain different types of experience. And if we're still stuck in our career, that means we're missing impact. That means clear outcomes, usually in dollars and users, from our work. All right, so we've done all of that. What's next? Next is positioning. And that means you are optimizing your LinkedIn, you're optimizing your resume, you're thinking more clearly and deliberately about your superpowers or your main core solutions that you offer hiring managers and recruiters. And you are positioning your candidacy around that so that you can better solve the problems that a hiring manager or recruiter might have. And you are really focused on the next stage of your career. So you've hopefully picked up the skills, picked up the experience, picked up the impact, and now you want to really, in a clear way, explain how everything above, you can now leverage to solve someone else's problems in a particular job. So that's the positioning stage that I see a lot of people get wrong. Now, if you've done all of that and you're still stuck, that means most likely outreach is the problem. And outreach means applications. It means cold networking and warm networking for referrals. It means outreach, emails, messages, in mails to recruiters, hiring managers, and other senior product folks. It often means you're lacking consistency, which is daily effort, day in, day out, over a long period of time. We often talk about the marathon mindset. That's what I'm talking about here. You need to follow up. You need to do it over a consistent timeline, and both on a daily level and on a weekly, monthly level. If you're doing all that, you should be picking up new callbacks, new interviews, new opportunities, and that leaves your next roadblock as the interview skills. That could be a bottleneck. Do you have a good story bank? Can you tell about yourself clearly and consistently? Are you ready for behavioral interviews? How do you feel about product design interviews? Strategy interview readiness, analytical interview readiness. All of those different types of interviews are going to come into play, and then the bottleneck becomes, okay, you can get, let's kind of bring it back up. You've got the foundational skills. That leads you to the experience, different types of experience. You've been able to build stuff and ship things. You've generated impact. You can position yourself to be a solution to the problems that people have with potential roles. You've actually done consistent outreach over a long period of time in an intelligent manner. And you've nailed your interview readiness. Now, hopefully, you're getting the offer. So the only thing left is negotiation skills. These are the fundamentals of how to negotiate and what you're actually looking to get. And of course, timeline management so that you can manage the interviews. And finally, the valuation of the offer and the company itself. A lot of times you're going to be dealing with startups, especially in your early mid-career. You want to understand what is actually being proposed here. What is likely happen? What is likely going to happen to the startup, and how can you impact it? So these are the valuation processes. And hopefully now you've got the offer and you're on to your next product role. But this whole loop that we just described really will continue to repeat every time you jumped into a new role. When I recommend to do that every 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 years, depending on where you currently are and what your goals actually are. But I want you to think of this really more as a loop. And that brings us to the big actual blocker, which is recognizable names on your resume and your profile. So think about this as a multi-level loop. You start out maybe with no recognizable names of any kind on your resume, and you have to build your way up through the skills, experience, impact, proper positioning, doing the work on outreach, getting the interviews, nailing the interviews, getting the offer, negotiating the offer, and first maybe taking on some lesser known startups. Then repeating all this and leveraging that to go for some more recognizable brands, and finally end up at the top tech companies, which is where the compensation is greatest and the potential for impact is greatest. And I'm not saying it's for everyone, but there's a ton of benefits, and primarily it's the compensation and future career perspective. So the core idea here is that we want to repeat this cycle and add recognizable names, more and more recognizable names to your resume, thereby allowing access to more and more opportunities for the future. And that's the entire path. Let me know if you have any questions below in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.